everyone. Welcome back to another exciting episode of What You Know It, the Iconist podcast. On your side is me, Barry 3D. And you can find me at barry3d.com. And on my side, as always, the man, the myth, the legend. If you're not dancing, you ain't playing. My cousin,
Rod C. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into another episode. We got some stuff for you. But first, Barry, what do we normally say? Manners maketh the man. Let's be mannerism.
That's right. That's right. And we got to do that because you got to pay it forward. So first of all, if you want to go and get your comic book collection up to date, or you want to do anything along like that, talking about, what we talk about, getting your book, so forth, you got to check out these places. So either hit out Wow Comics out in Kitchener, tell Wes we said hi, check out Check Swings in Montreal, tell Trevor we said hi, and Hero's Tale out in Cambridge, tell Andrew we said hi. All right, there we go. Now, also, when I do comedy, I don't do it alone. I'm always with my group there sometimes. And I say sometimes. I said always and sometimes. Yeah, I know. But when I'm with them, I'm with them. That's a touch of gray matter. So that's myself, Dave Sokolowski, and of course, yours truly, Barry 3D. So keep an eye out for the shows we got coming up. You can find those once again on my website. On top of that, Rod, where can we find you?
You can find me, as I say, on the World Wide Web. You can find me on Instagram and Mr. Rod C, MRRODC. You can find me on twitch.tv/DJ Rod C. Find me on TikTok at DJ Rod C1. That's DJ Rod C1. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Woo! And on top of that, we are also part of what we call the Subculture Podcast Network. So we're a network of 5 podcasts going, and we're growing, and we have things coming up for you. So, yeah, there's things coming out in January. We got things coming out year-round. So check out the other podcasts that are on the Subculture Podcast Network. Remember, we're okay being your second favorite podcast. Give them a listen to. Okay. And if you want to do podcast of what we're doing, okay, yes, we're on YouTube, but we're officially, you get your podcast anywhere: Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Good Pods, wherever it is you get your podcast from. You need to do it, and we used our main hosting site, which is Podbean. So you can go into iconist.podbean.com. You can do your own podcast and go from there. And if you need anything to get done, you're going to need a graphic artist. There's only one graphic artist we use, and he's Mr. Worldwide. And if you mention you heard about him on the Iconist podcast, he'll give you a discount. All right. The one and only. What are we talking about, Rod?
Jaybird Digital Art.
Mr. Jason Reese, Jaybird Digital Arts. You give him a shout. Once again, tell him you heard about him here on the Iconist podcast. He'll give you a discount on any work you need done, on any kind of graphic artist you need, work you need to have. All right? Yeah, have. Okay, yeah. It's been one of those days. All right. Which brings us to today's episode. I'm liking this. Okay, here we go. So on the Iconist podcast, the icon is, be with it,
Ra's al Ghul.
Rush Al Ghul or Ra's al Ghul. I know he's pronounced both ways, and it's okay because everyone says it different ways, including the creators. Right? So, Ra's, have you seen him? Yeah, you've seen him. Are we going to do our whole thing of talk about him and fan cast him? Absolutely, but we're trying to hopefully put a different spin on this character that make it even more interesting, because he's already interesting as it is. I'm not knocking that at all. So this character made his first appearance in Batman issue number 232 in June in 1971. Gemini. I'm a Gemini. That's right. So ration on you. Now it probably explains a lot. I probably understand. That's why I understand you so well. Gemini.
Oh boy.
You know we're going there, Rod. As soon as I saw that date, I'm like,
I know.
Right on. Yeah. So Ra's had a couple of people that created him. So he was created by Dennis O'Neil, the writer, along with Neil Adams, the artist, and Jules Shorts, right, who came up with the conception of Ra's al Ghul. So it took 3 people to kind of put this character together. Neil Adams was doing a lot of the art on the Batman series. We have to thank him for making Batman more action-oriented. Every time that he drew him, if you read any of his, the books of Batman back then, when Neil Adams was drawing him, he always drew Batman in like a hunched-over pose, like he's leaping forward, and the cape was curved a certain way. He made Batman more slim. And Batman wasn't a big, bulky guy, but he was very athletic. So, he also drew a lot of emotion on Batman's face. So you would see him serious. He would cry. He would actually smile sometimes. So Batman wasn't as harsh as we see him today, never
Mm-hmm.
smiling, never cracking a joke. You would see those moments happen. He would represent that through his, the exposed part of his face and the cowl and the eyes. He did a phenomenal job. You have to go back and definitely read some of the work that these creators did with this character. So
Right.
he was loosely based off one of the James Bond villains, like in Doctor No, and I can't remember what's the other movie he was based off of. So it was Doctor No, and there was one other. Um, oh my gosh, yeah, it's our podcast. We should be more prepared. But this is it was two movies that they looked at it and said, "Oh yeah, this is cool," and it'll come to me soon enough. Um, ah, so we'll move on. But
It will come back. It will come back.
it'll come back to me. Yeah, but the fact is that they looked at it and they took a medium that was already existed. They said, "Hey, this character would be kind of cool." They took a variation, and this is where they came up with Ra's al Ghul. So Ra's al Ghul, he was East Asian, as they were saying. So they never
Mm-hmm.
gave his heritage background, but and I'm only mentioning this because it does make a difference in my opinion.
Right.
So when you look at him, depending how they drew him, he was a little bit older. He had like the little mustache on the side and pointed down, and he looked like he had a little bit of a receding hairline and the hair going up almost like a Wolverine with a little bit of gray in it. He was like, a silver gray fox, as they would put it. He's in phenomenal shape. And the man is about 600 years old, 600 to 700 years old.
Yep.
Right. So being East Asian, he grew up and he has that. So is he fully Asian? Is he Mongolian? It could be any of those things. And sometimes they drew him that way, and other
Right.
times they kind of lean more to a European kind of look when they drew him, depending on the artist. So it's almost a little bit ambiguous, but that doesn't take away anything away from this character. When he came about and he was born way back, he had a mind for science. That's exactly what it is. He had a mind for science. He had a mind for healing. He wanted, and he was really smart. So you would say he was a genius at his time he was born in. His parents looked at him, and he was always getting to herbs and curing people and how to be a doctor and understanding medicine, understanding viruses. Back then, they said even back then in his prime when he was a kid, just aging normally, he was more advanced, and he went to be a doctor slash physician, however you want to look at it. And
Healer in
that's
a
well,
sense.
huh?
You can think of as a healer.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
those days, it would be considered like a healer. You know?
exactly. But he was a really good healer.
Yes.
No, yeah, and the problem is he found a woman that he loved, and everything was going well, and then the Sultan or the king's daughter, whoever it was, I'm sorry,
Mm.
son got ill and said, "Hey, can you save my son? Can you help him?" At this time, he's come across the Lazarus pits.
Mhm.
Now, it's kind of experimenting with what this thing is. I mean, it's green water. Okay, what can he do? And he finds out, through his own time, and I guess experimenting with maybe other things, that if you put something that's dead in the Lazarus pit, it brings you back to life. So when the prince was starting to die and he was trying to save him, trying to figure a way to save him, says, "I'm going to put him in the Lazarus pit." And that was the first time he put a human person in the Lazarus pit. And
Yeah.
he didn't know what the outcome was going to be. He saw that he put the person in the Lazarus pit. The prince comes back. All right, great. He's back to life. Cool.
I'm
Of
good.
course, when you come out the Lazarus pit, emotional damage. Yeah, you use a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
You kind of lose touch reality. You're going like a berserker rage,
Yeah.
and it hits people differently. So it brought out a really cruel side of the prince.
Mhm.
The king looked at it and said, "What did you do to my son?" So instead of the king admitting that his son had a mean streak already, and the Lazarus pit just augmented that,
Increased it. Yep.
exactly, he blamed Raish,
Yep.
that it was his fault. And, the prince turned around, killed off Raish's love at the time. And the king, to punish Raish, threw the dead body in a pit, Raish in a cave, and lured him in the cave to stay there looking at his dead love right there. Like that was his punishment.
Yeah.
The only reason he got out of that cage was it was a young boy, where Raish turned around and helped his mom when she was sick. And the boy said, "Hey, he doesn't deserve this treatment. He helped my mom when she was really sick and was able to be successful, make her passing a lot easier. I'm going to kind of defy my king and get him out the pit." Pull him out, off he goes. And that's Raish. Raish now is understanding a few things. One, he feels betrayed because it's not his fault. Two, he sees what the Lazarus pit can do.
Mm-hmm.
All right, put that pin in that. I'll be back to it. And then he goes to get revenge on the prince, the king. You know, like he's doing this thing, but I mean, they killed off his love. So at one point, they call him back in to help again because, you know, the king gets sick. And Raish is like, yeah, no problem. But Raish has been now experimenting over the years with different herbs, different concoctions, different things, different reactions. So he took some herbs and he's understanding that just like the famous Batman 89 movie with Joker and Michael Keaton, right? Where, you know, Joker is poisoning everybody. It's like, oh yeah, combination of this and this, you know, it's harmless. But if you put these two items together with this third component, it makes it toxic. That's exactly what Raish did. He put some of the, you know, one type of chemical on their clothes.
Yep.
Put it on their clothes. Okay. And then he made sure another chemical was in the area while they were wearing their clothes, which caused a reaction that poisoned them.
Mm-hmm.
And he just, hey, it wasn't me. I don't know what happened. I just showed up here. I was holding a flower. Hey, Scooby Doo. You know, I was holding this flower, and it's like, hey, King, this is a good flower. Oh, wait a minute, why you itching? Okay, boom. Oh, you dead? It's just a rose.
Ouch. Yeah. So.
That's the basis of it. But now this is bringing out his name. So, and when he starts off, he just turned and said, okay, well, you know what? I mean, the name he had, he kind of changed his name and says, I'm going to be from that moment on, he's going to be, I'll be Ra's al Ghul, which is the demon or demon's head, I believe in Arabic.
Right. So the aspect of that as well is like how he took the name is that when he was escaping with the particular servant who helped him escape, he went through. He realized I need a place to stay. I need a place just to regroup. So he went into the desert and basically connected with his family. So his tribe.
Yes.
So basically the scenario is that Ra's al Ghul is part of a particular tribe. And as Barry said, he was very intelligent, very forward thinking in that regard, that it was kind of going against the grains and the normal teachings of the tribe. So he kind of left on his own, did his own thing, and became a very predominant healer in the community, in the country, and they recognized his skill, and that's why he's able to work for the Sultan at that time. So everything that happened, now he gets blacklisted. I'm getting shunned. I gotta go underground. My uncle has the tribe. Let me connect back with the tribe. They're out in the desert. Let me go back with them. Great conversation Raj had with them. Let's listen. I got framed for something I didn't do. I swear I didn't do nothing to. I tried to help the boy. I tried to help the man. The man was a little, he was already a little crazy. His father didn't want to admit it. But he a little crazy. Now I get blamed. Uncle, let's work together and let's go back and punish them for dishonoring our name. Okay, then. And that was basically it. So basically, they went back, and that's how, at least going back and setting up the steps to, take care of the Sultan. And with all that, as Barry said, he went back, did his little technical, with these powers combined, we can now mess you up. So with doing that, after that, success of that, he basically took leadership of the tribe and basically started to call them all, took leader of the tribe and basically called himself Ra's al Ghul, a.k.a. Demon's Head. So it's crazy.
Yeah. And he started developing his ideology. So, his ideology was, he was seeing now, because he was able to get to a certain age, if he would die, he had instructions for his servants to put him back into the Lazarus pit. He would come out. He'd be a little bit crazy. They had to hold him down till the madness would pass.
Subside.
Back to his calm self and then go. So, first of all, he's very smart with medicine. He understands biological warfare. Right? That's what he was doing back then, and even up to present day. It's all his things are bio warfare. Like he wanted to release the Black Plague, I think, in Gotham at one point, and And he's done stuff like that over the years. So his whole logic is this. Here's a planet. I want to save the planet. Okay, sounds good. You want to save the planet. So you're an activist. But he's an extreme activist. He hardcore believes. I don't think I've seen Raish live action, and I'm going to stick with that live action. In the game, they kind of get his personality in the games. The Arkham series. In
Right.
the animated series, all right, we get snippets of him, but I don't think we fully got, especially live action, in my opinion, the true Raish Al Ghul. And what I mean by that is he's an extremist for saving the planet. Forget Batman, forget his daughter, forget his grandson. Saving the planet is his sole purpose.
Yes.
And whatever means he goes about that helps save the planet. So his whole mantra is we need to get rid of a lot of the humans on this planet in one shot. So we put less of a strain on the ecosystem to give the planet a chance to heal itself for us to thrive again. That's it. This is why he's always trying to kill off as many people as possible.
Yeah.
But he's only doing it in a certain way. So, for example, he would never use a bomb, generally speaking, right? Or a weapon of mass destruction. Let's put it that way. He would never use a weapon of mass destruction because that goes against his purpose and his creed. He won't go ahead and say, oh, fire a whole bunch of nuclear missiles into Gotham Metropolis and different parts of the world, because then the Earth is damaged. He's not trying to do that because it's going to take how many hundreds of years for the radiation to pass. That's not doing that. This is why he goes with biological, chemical warfare, and bioweapons. He just wants to get rid of the people. He doesn't want to harm animals. He doesn't want to harm anyone else. So picture Thanos had the snap, right?
Right.
He wants to give everyone a bad allergy, let them die, let them compost, and just say, okay, that's good for the soil, and we're back. We're good to go. He wants to get rid of half the population easy. So he's had this from day one. Now, he's smart. So what does he do? He starts building the resources. He starts using the Lazarus pit to every time he's about to die, he brings himself back.
Right.
And he keeps going. So now he's always the head of his foundation. So he's the demon. He's got the demon's head. And then he got a group of assassins. Because his methods are extreme, he doesn't care about taking out key people that are hindering the planet in his mind, right? So if you have a company and your company's polluting a lot, he's going to say, well, the president of this company's got to go. Let me go and get my assassin. So at the time, he had his hit squad, and they were known as the Demon's Fang. So cool. Now, the Demon's Fang would turn around, and he would send them out to do missions of assassination. As he's got more to modern times, people see him as an eco-terrorist, and that's what they really refer to. I mean, they say terrorist, but he's really an eco-terrorist because in his mind, he's trying to save, the ecosystem by using any means necessary, and that's terrorism. Okay, cool. All right, that's the way he is. And then he forms the League of Assassins, and with the assassinations, he's getting hired to do assassinations. So it's almost like a reverse Robin Hood. He's not robbing from the rich. He's killing off key rich people. He's killing off anyone that's harming the environment. And he's also profiting at the same time, as he realizes that he has to build up an organization to do this. Now, of course, keep in mind the time he's born is 600-700 years ago. You start off as a healer. You got to learn to defend yourself. So he learns all forms of combat. From martial arts, he's East Asian, so martial arts, weapons, as new weapons come out. So he has weapons of preference, and one of them is a sword. He loves using either a cutlass or a foil. Those are his weapons. I've always seen him kind of use. So he would take Zoro in a fight, and that's my opinion. All right, it would be a tough fight, but he should. So picture Marvel, Captain America. You say Captain America is up there as one of the best hand-to-hand combatants in the Marvel universe, because he started learning how to fight from World War II. Even though he got frozen for 70 years, he still has all that years of experience, got unfrozen, still has all these years of experience. So when people are just kind of getting into becoming superheroes, he was already seasoned in being a fighter because he was in the field all the time fighting for his life. Superheroes do too, but it's not like, oh, he knocked me out and the hero runs away with the money. He was fighting people that they knocked him out. They would have shot him, headshot, and they would have gone on and say, oh, kill the symbol of America. So yeah, he was literally fighting for his life. So you fight a different way when you're in those situations. So this is where it comes into that he's that person, he's that guy, and he says, "All right," and he's smart about it. So this is why it was the animated series. They said League of Shadows because they couldn't use League of Assassins.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So this
Even more deeper.
character is deep, man, deep, right? Because you live all these years, and there's aspects they don't cover, but here it is. He wanted an heir. That was his other thing too, because he came from that mindset. Well, at the time, I mean, maybe not so much now. Now you have a kid, you're like, oh, I have a kid, I'm happy. Back then, you had heirs. That was how it was 700 years ago. If you were a king, you had to have an heir. He was the king of his, the demon's Fang, the demon's head, the whole thing. He was the leader of that. He wanted to have an heir. And he's gone through history, be it if he's had some biologically or people that he would see as kindred spirits that he would say, hey, you're good enough to bring on board. I want you to join me, use my resources, including the Lazarus pit, because one day the Lazarus pit might not work for me. And that's his whole thing is a contingency plan. It might not work for me one day. Or these ones around the world have been destroyed. I found other ones, but one day I might not find one. I need to find someone that's going to continue my work as a air quotes equal terrorist. So he's kind of almost, and history's always been rewritten a little bit. So he almost approached Bane at one point, or not. He did approach Bane.
He did approach, yeah.
He did approach Bane, but Talia didn't like Bane. She's like, oh, he's too brutish. He's too much of a thug. Even though Dad's like, okay, this matchmaking ain't gonna work out. Which is interesting because they took aspects of Bane, Talia, the Demon's Head throughout the Christopher Nolan Batman series, the Dark Knight series.
Yep.
And they took aspects of it and put it in, so they kind of made their own spin on it. But that's how it worked out. So then, of course, he's one of the few people that figured out that Bruce Wayne was Batman.
Yep.
Just looking around saying, oh man, okay, look at his gadgets. His gadgets cost money. Okay, he's always in Gotham City. So someone in Gotham City has a lot of money and has got to have excuses all the time. And someone's got, okay, and he narrowed it down and he figured out Bruce Wayne was Batman. Now, for him knowing, it's not something like he's holding it over his head. His motivation is not killing Batman. That's the last thing he wants to do. He looks at Batman and sees him as the son I haven't had.
Right. The potential heir from my dynasty.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Exactly. The potential heir from my dynasty. And he turns around and he says, okay, Bruce. Well, he doesn't call him Bruce. And he doesn't call him Batman. He calls him the detective. And that is respect that he's given because he understands how smart, driven that Bruce Wayne is. He already, and Bruce Wayne uses his finances to fund his war on crime. So Raish is like, hey, instead of just being a war on crime, I think it's a crime what the humans are doing to the ecosystem, to Mother Earth. You should just, instead of taking it being, a city and being a local hero, I want you to be worldwide and run the organization. By the way, have you met my daughter?
The Riz on this guy is unstoppable, man. I'm telling you, this guy is just unstoppable.
Hey, look, I think he's misunderstood. He's a CEO. He's athletic. He's a family man. Family is important to Raish. Family is very 100%. Important to Raish. Right. So hold on. So what's you read up on Raish? You brought this character up to us. What's your take on Raish? What attracts you to his character? What do you think?
I like Raish. The reason I like him is because the character is a very multi-level character. He's deep in the lore in the sense that very few characters have a known span over 100 years. We're gonna say Captain America. We're gonna say Ra's al Ghul. We even go to Vandal Savage.
Yes.
See, he's another person as well. But understanding how to make yourself being immortal, basically turn yourself into immortal, but having enough understanding how to make himself relevant in the time he is every single century. He's not like I'm rich and then, or not rich, but I'm doing something and then I coast and then I don't do nothing. No, he has a mission to basically realize, if you look at it, the core of him is still a healer. If you look at it, think
Oh yeah,
The
yeah.
core, he's still a healer. He's realized now I'm not healing not only myself, I got to heal myself to be able to take up the task of what? Healing those around me, healing my people in that regard, the League of Shadows, League of Assassins. Now I realize that I need to be able to heal the world. Like you said, understand the trajectory of humans is basically damaging where I live. If I have the ability to live for the rest of my life, I think I still want this place to be here. So I got to make sure this place is in one piece. So yeah, I understand that. And you're absolutely right in regards to, because I thought of something else that you said about him being able to mix particular herbs and spices and stuff. Spices, hear me, like we're making some kind of cake. But he's putting stuff together to be able to concoct something that, again, you won't realize it till together. I will admit, until I do the research on this, start to realize the Batman trilogy. They took that theology of him being able to take these particular herbs and mixing stuff, because when you see the famous one where he supposedly dies in Train, you know what I mean? That whole how did it go? The machine basically that dehydrates the
Right.
water.
Yes.
Again, that's a whole type of one thing by itself, another thing by itself. But put the things together, I can create some kind of virus, atmospheric virus, that can just basically plague and hurt everybody. So, hey, I like Ra's al Ghul because of the amount of respect he has for the planet and those around him. He's not the typical villain who's saying, I'm here to hurt you. I see hurt you if you're in my way of my mission. And that's really what it is. So the respect that he has for the detective, you see, like you were saying, until the Batman movie, the trilogy movie, I don't think they really had any type of live presentation of him. But you can see in Batman animated cartoon, Young Justice, the amount of respect that they portray Raj to have, it just makes you tip your hat and like saying, I know he's the bad guy, but is he really bad? Maybe just the way he does things. He may think like, okay, maybe I wouldn't do that, but maybe I had the resources. Maybe I might be tempted to do that because I have the resources to be able to get away with it. But other than that, you're a very respected villain. And I like you. You're very, very highly educated and just makes you think like this guy he is way too smart to be putting his action into a villainous type of way. But you realize why he's doing it. You realize, well, you know what? No one else is actually taking the actual push to take care of the earth, to take care of the environment. By any means necessary, this is what he's doing.
He's a man of action. We have those conferences where all the world leaders get together and they say, okay, what are you going to do? Watch the emissions on this, watch the emissions on that. And he's sitting there going, I'm just going to get rid of you, get rid of you, get rid of you. You can stay because you're on my side. And I'm going to talk to see how you waver. The rest of y'all, dead by morning. Okay, cool. Next. Yeah. What's on the agenda? What's for lunch?
Right. Clearly, what's on lunch? Well, we have lunch. Make sure I got some pickles on this thing. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's what it is. So he knows that, everybody is very, not seductive, but they're very greedy and they're very about themselves. Anything they're doing is selfishness is the word I'm trying to say.
Yes.
They're very selfish. Yeah. He's not selfish. He's like, I'm doing this for a greater good. And that's it. Like you said, if you're in a conference and you win and realizing, oh, this person, you can tell that person's selfish. He doesn't really care. He just has a position and just trying to be selfish and take all the money. But you're not really trying to take care of your people. You're not trying to take care of the planet or your country.
No.
Take care of him. And that's it.
Exactly. Gone by morning. It's exactly what Raish is. So I know they do a lot of these. So far, we've got, Marvel's doing a lot of these movies, or I should say Sony, right? We've got, Venom. We got 2 movies of Venom. Okay,
Right.
we have one coming out. We had one of Morbius. We have one coming out of Craven. So they're doing all these movies on these villains and trying to give them another side, so you get sympathetic to them, but they're still villains. All
Hmm.
right, I'm fine with that. But then
Yeah.
really give me a villain. So you want a villain that really stands out? Give me a movie on Ra's al Ghul, for example, or something. Like I always hope a couple of things. So one, that we would get a true live action of Ra's al Ghul in the movies, like really going with the eco-terrorism. Don't put him piggyback on another hero. Another villain. Let him be the villain. Let that build up, right? Because we've got great books. You got the Birth of the Demon, which kind of explains a lot of his backstory, and then you
Hmm.
got Son of the Demon, which is one of my favorite reads, where it's the birth loosely we can say of Damien, right? And I
Yeah.
say loosely because if you read the original one, if you read the original Son of the Demon, this is where
Hmm.
Talia and Batman get together. This is where Batman almost thinking about taking over, but he's still standing with his morals, taking over Raish's organization. Talia's trying to persuade him to, and he's trying to, mentally kind of put himself
Balance
and
the
figure it
books.
out.
Balance the books. Balance the
Balance the
books.
books.
Does it really make sense?
Exactly. And then at the end of that story, Talia is pregnant, right? Bruce goes back to being Batman full time, goes back to Gotham. Didn't know Talia
Hmm.
was pregnant. Talia gave birth to a baby boy. Talia turned around, found a family that was trying to conceive, that seemed to be a very nice family, took that baby, left the baby on the doorstep with a note, and all she left was a chain with a bat symbol on it, like a little bat on the chain. And that's how the family found it. I'm not sure if she left money in there for the baby too and all that. And
Hmm.
so that's where she left it. And then she went about her business because she's still working with her dad in the League of Assassins, right? Okay,
Hmm.
so for years, Bruce didn't know this. Now, if you read the story Kingdom Come, where it takes place in the future, it's not Damian Wayne you're sitting there at one point. It's his son. I can't remember his name, Abin's, but it's his son that's sitting there at a table, and Bruce Wayne sitting across, oh yeah, that's my dad. But you know, how they kind of said in the future is that Ra's finds out, well, the baby goes, gets the baby, brings the baby back, raises him like the assassin, so almost like how Damien was raised. But instead of
Right.
Damien going back to his dad, no, this baby stays and takes over the League of Assassins when he grows up as a full man. So he looks like a very young Bruce Wayne.
Hmm.
And he's got his dad with the exoskeleton sitting across him, balding, and it's like, huh, dad? And they don't even call themselves dad and son. They call themselves by he's like Bruce. He calls him by his name. And then it's like, I
Hmm.
think it's Clark. It's like, isn't that your son? Yeah. Okay. Emotional damage. So that's what I like about Raish. One, he's not your I want to get riches and money and take over the world. No, he's trying to save the planet. He's a
Yeah.
family man. He's
Yeah.
going about his own twisted way of doing it. He doesn't want to kill Batman. He just gets frustrated with him because Batman keeps stopping him all the time. And
Time.
it's
Yep.
just pissing him off. But he doesn't want to hurt Batman. He wants Batman to open. Raish thinks Batman is blind. It's like you're blind to what's happening in the world. I will hurt you, but I want you to wake up one day. And I'm hoping, fingers
Right.
crossed, that you'll wake up one day, take your rightful place beside me with my daughter, with your son Damien, and we're gonna wreck shop on all these people.
100%.
That's where the beauty of that is. So there's a man with many layers. Now, on top of it, there's of course everyone knows Talia. Everyone gets Talia. That's the most memorable child he has.
Hmm.
And there's where it comes in. So Talia is the one we know because she's the one that she is into Bruce Wayne. She is attracted to Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
She knows that Bruce Wayne and Batman are hand to hand. I find Talia is more of a fit for Batman than Catwoman. I don't want Batman and Catwoman. I want Batman and Talia. Dangerous duo. Come on now. Right? If they stayed together as husband and wife and then they had Damien,
Would have been a
remember we
problem.
did an episode? It's like, who picks on Dick Grayson? Who's going to bully Dick Grayson? Nobody go bully Damien. You understand that? It's like,
100%.
who's your dad? Don't worry about it. Who's your mom? Don't worry about it. Oh, is that guy over there your granddaddy? Okay, first of all, before you get to Gramps, you better hold it down because mom and dad at least have a limit. Gramps, no filter.
None.
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 None. He snaps your fingers, your family's gone.
None. You're done.
You're done, son. So that there was making a lineage. I thought that storyline would have been cool. I really like Raish a lot for what he represents as a character and as a foil to Batman. I think, so we got Talia, right? That's his most well known. But then you
Mhm.
got Nyssa or Nessa, who shows up in Arrow, the CW Arrow. You find out, and she's an existing character. And with her
Mhm.
storyline is she didn't want to give her dad an heir, but she didn't want to fully follow her dad. Like Talia was more daddy's girl, and she was more the rebel. They always have kids, and one's gonna be with the parent, and one's gonna be rebel. So she was the rebel,
Yep.
saying, "I don't want to deal with the League of Assassins. I don't want to give you an heir. I want to do my own thing." And if you read like Suicide Squad, the Secret Six, if you read the Secret Six, he's in there. You read the Suicide Squad, she's in there. So
Mhm.
she was written by Gail Simone was writing some of her adventures where she falls in love with another warrior from Apocalypse, who's joined that Secret Six or
Right.
Suicide Squad. Yeah, it's Catman Secret Six. Yeah, and she joins that. So that's there. If you go by Batman the animated series, is it? I'm
Mhm.
not now. Forget my memory. I'm not sure if it's Batman the animated. I believe it's Batman the animated series. It's not Batman Beyond. So Ray shows up at one point. He's older. Yeah, it's Batman the animated series. And Ray shows up. It's a whole thing with him and Batman. I think it's like one episode. Of course they're fighting, and he's like, okay, well, why are you trying to go after this old guy all the time? He's in a home. You know, and Batman is chasing him down. And at the very end of it, Raish turns around and he goes, well, you know why I'm looking for this guy? Because he's to you, you might see him as an old man in a retirement home. That's my son. He just never wanted to go into the Lazarus pit. So he aged normally, lived his life, didn't want to be there. So Raish might look like he's in his 50s, 60s. His son, who's younger than him, is obviously, is up in his 90s in a wheelchair, decrepit man, can't walk. He's like, that's my son. And he's like, what? He goes, what? You think I only had one child over all the years, detective? And Batman lets him
Yeah.
take his son away to, live out his last days. And
Yeah.
right, because his son was, hitting that age.
Mhm.
Brings me to an interesting point, though. Let's think about it for half a second. You're around for 600 years, 600, seven
Right.
hundred years. Right. You lost one love. You'll find love again. Obviously, he found love again because he had Talia. Obviously, he found love again because he had a son. He had another daughter. How many
Right.
more kids out there are over 600
Heirs.
years?
Right.
You could have a couple. We've only known of three. That's my storyline. My storyline is what's the family ties? Some are with you,
Mhm.
some are against you, some are partial.
Mhm.
I want to know more about Raish and his family. I want to know about Raish and the women he's loved before because Talia's mom, I'm not sure who the mom was, but I know Nissa's mom was Russian. So Raish travels all over the world. So she had
Right.
a Russian mother, and she wanted to know more about her dad. And mom had to say, okay, well, this is who your dad is. Like, oh, I want to know more about him. And she went looking for her dad to find Raish. But that means he's got, it's not to say he's out there as a playboy. No. But if
Mhm.
you 600 years old, 700 years old, you might get with someone, fall in love with them, start a family. You're still doing his eco terrorist thing, but at the same time, he's going to outlive them. They're not going to go into the Lazarus pit and be rejuvenated. So I don't know,
Right.
is that more because he was lonely, found love? Did it happen accidentally? But how come he never let any of them use the Lazarus pit? The mothers I'm talking about, right?
And
His
that's
wives.
no, that 100%. I've always wondered. I've always. It's not a bad. It's a great statement to ask because I've always wondered
Mm.
the. Because you see it in a couple of animated, and you see it in the comics that when he comes out, you know, he does get affected. And
It's
I'm trying to remember. I don't know if it was animated where he was like saying like it affects people differently. Maybe
yeah.
he knows that again it affects people differently. Some people can take it, some people can't. So to safeguard, you don't need anybody else. Like say the very first one, the Sultan's son went
Yeah.
in. He was already a little. He was already a little seductive already. So this is just
Yeah.
amplified and brought his feelings to the forefront. We can basically base that. Ross knew that and understood. These are the properties and the powers of the Lazarus Pit. If someone else who is not um whose mind is not strong
Mm.
will to control themselves. This can be a terror on this earth. Now I have to battle them to bring them down. When I'm trying to take care of this earth, I don't have time. The mindset, I have the resources, but that's now
Yeah.
going to take me away. My main mission is to take care of this earth. Now I got to take care of the problem that I created. Do you understand? So I can see that could probably be a reason, one of the reasons why that maybe it's written in the paragraph or line somewhere in one of the documentaries of Ra's al Ghul that he states, or they've written that I know the power of the Lazarus pit. If I let this, if other people get a hold of this, I know I feel compelled and responsible. So to avoid all that, it's locked off. That's why to me this place is the places, because they're multiple across the earth, is basically locked down and only known to him, and very high up, who knows where the Lazarus pit is. To me, that makes better sense to do that route. Because to me, that makes better sense. If that might probably be a reason why, although he loved her, if he has someone, a love interest throughout those years, but he just realized, I need to minimize the amount of people who have access to this. She may know who I am, know I'm long lived. I'm going to surpass you in time. You're okay with it? I'm okay with it. All right. You're just not going to take a dip in the pool with me. That's all I'm saying.
True enough. So that raises a lot of interesting questions. So one, I want to know about his, his love life, right? To see how he handled it. How was he as a father? Did it over obsess his mission? Now, I know the easy thing is to make him like a cruel father, but he's not. He's stern, but he's not. He's absolutely not. He might have his ways. He's got his bodyguard there, Ubu, and but he's not. And he loves his children, regardless. No matter what, he loves his children. He wants the best for his daughter. I mean, look. Let's put it this way: as suitors that are out there, you want someone that's going to take care of your daughter and be able to handle business. You're in a dangerous line of work. You're seen as an eco-terrorist. Who better than to marry your daughter than someone like Bruce Wayne, that man?
100%.
His resume speaks for itself. He's got the money. He's got the resources. He's got the mind and the intellect. He's got the drive. He knows, hey, if I leave my daughter with him, sure, she's dangerous. She's in dangerous company with me. He can handle herself. But by some chance, she might need backup. The detective, we're good.
Listen, I'll even put it this way. Reyes knows the one main thing. I'm an honorable man. I don't know of any other individual on this earth who's close as honorable as me than the detective. And to me, that will be the reason why I know he has the resources. I know he has the mindset and the skills. He's a smart individual. He's up there with me. We played mental chess for years. So I know as a combative, as someone who can, because Reyes won't say it, you're not my equal, but you're not too far behind. You'll be it. But I know you're an honorable person, that you, in that sense, will dive on the sword to save someone. If the sword, you and someone else, if you really truly love that person and your honor is good, you will basically take the hit for that person. Who better to have someone who's courting and basically, betrothed to my daughter to take over my empire? Bruce Wayne. So that to me is another reason why he has a good tie to me. He, like you said, he can't pull himself to kill.
No.
It's just like I just need this boy just to shake. I gotta shake this man up. Wake up.
Common sense into him.
Come on, you. I know you see what I'm saying. Maybe you don't like my method, detective, but you understand what I'm doing. Just wake up. Let's go global.
Knock a little bit of comment into him. Stop being a numpty, Bruce. Exactly. Yeah, I had to slip that in there.
Turn into. Go on.
It's my comedy skits. So our past. And here's a couple of things. So one, to tell you the influence of him, Christopher Nolan took a lot of influences for all three movies, right? First movie, he clearly brought in Raish and used the whole League of Shadows kind of misdirection for you in Liam Neeson. Okay, gotcha. Second movie, right, it was a Joker, of course there's toxin in the background, the fear toxin, and it kind of plays out a little bit, right? Which was almost what he was trying to do with the chemicals. Third movie, guess what? Talia finally shows up.
Yeah.
And Talia shows up with Bane. Almost same thing, that Bane got her out the pit and saved her when everyone was attacking him. He said jump and she got free, and then she felt bad and went back. And they even showed a flashback of Raish going back, to get Bane because Bane saved his daughter that he did not know she had. So you see how it goes full circle, and she does get with Bruce, but then she, of course, or Batman, but she betrays him because he killed off her dad. So heavy influence. Batman 89, as I said, with all the chemicals, with Joker saying, I'm gonna mix all these chemicals together, individually do nothing, together, this is what they can cause. That's a race thing. That's not, that's a race thing, more than a Joker thing, in my opinion. Or a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then of course, who else can, as you put it, you called it out right. You have to be strong will, strong of mind to go in the Lazarus pit and come out and not have the effects drive you crazy. Who else but Bruce Wayne has a mind like that? Not Green Arrow. Forget that. Superman is strong, but not mentally strong or driven like Batman is. Batman is focused. That's his power. And it even proved that in Batman Beyond, where Talia comes back and says, hey, I want to give you this gift. And Bruce ends up going into the pit, but only temporarily. He doesn't stay in as long as he should be. So he does go younger. He has like just gray at the side. His body goes back to normal. And then him and Terry team up and beat the crap out of everybody. And he's like, hey, Bruce, are you going to go back in? He goes, nope, it's a crutch. He goes, the effects of this will wear off in the next couple of days. For now, I'll just enjoy it and hang around the house, right? Being young again, I'll have to walk with a cane. Because he's so driven that you can't get Bruce off his path. He's stubborn.
Right.
All right. So this is why all these elements work well together for this character. So you got the family ties, you got what he's trying to do with the Earth, you got his fighting skill alone, you got the army he has behind him, and he always shows up. I need him to be a main villain. So before we get into the fan casting part of it, I'll say this last tidbit here, and I'll let you have some words. We'll get into this. The only thing I think I'm disappointed in this character is he never made an appearance in the Batman. I'm talking the Batman cartoon, right? Where he had the remote control Batmobile that would show up and ran for 5 seasons. Batman. We talked about this in like year 1. We talked about the Batman, that particular one, who he was.
Yeah. I'm just going for the mental Rolodex. They never had him on.
They never had him on. Raish never showed up. He was never in there. They even did a whole special where it was a one-shot movie, Batman versus Dracula, same team.
Yeah.
Raish was never in there. Raish was not in there at all. And I would love to see that whole team, original team, come back. Give me a movie with the Demon's Head and do adapt one of the books, Birth of the Demon or Son of the Demon. Give me that story with their take on it. I think that would be nice and fresh. And then my last point is, okay, we got Robert Pattinson that's playing Batman, right? Matt Reeves Batman. Okay, cool. So the way he's going, that Batman is darker. We got the first movie. Okay, second movie is going to probably bring in Joker. I think, in my opinion, I would love to see the third movie. No Riddler, no Clayface, no nothing. Give me Ra's al Ghul. Give me Ra's al Ghul, the real Ra's, in the third Batman Matt Reeves movie, in that dark world, right? I'm not saying that Ra's has got to be dark, but Ra's method's going to be a certain way. And I think that would be interesting with Robert Pattinson if they get to a third movie, Matt Reeves. That's where I would love to see Ra's come in. So no matter what, I want to see Ra's come in as his own, not backing off of, he showed up in some of the other movies, right? Where Deathstroke was in there and he was training Deathstroke. No, I want Ra's.
So have him as the main antagonist. He's the sole antagonist for that movie. No, I hear what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So that's my 2 cents. Rod, what's your 2 cents? And we'll get into our fan casting here.
Listen, Ray's, like I said, he's an incredible character. It's an incredible IP. So many depths, so many different layers that I too would love to see him in there just by himself. Yes, that was kind of what they try to do. That he tried to do it with the Christopher Nolan version and try to bring it in, but we need to go a little bit further. They talked about the League of Assassins. They talked about his history and everything like that. But I would really like to see some flashbacks in a sense of start off the movie. Honestly, here's a nice, as I'm thinking this right now, start off the movie at least the first half of the first act. Let's just start off with that. Throw everybody off. You're coming to watch a Batman movie. Yeah. But let's start off with Ra's al Ghul and go for the storyline from 600 years ago. Yes. And you start off from about maybe the first 15 minutes. You do the the entry, like, him starting off, what happened with the son, the Sultan's son, and then basically jump ahead, and then you jump ahead to like where he is. Because the funny thing is, my mind was trying to remember, did he have any other alternate names? And then I realized he didn't. Except, I mean, in a sense of other
Right.
than Demon Fang or the Demon's Head or anything like that. It was always been, he's known as Ra's al Ghul. Now, my mind was thinking who? Like Vandal Savage. He was known also as Genghis Khan and that kind of scenario.
Yeah, yeah,
So
exactly. I gotcha.
Vandal did all that. He was there longer, but he had different names and different titles. Ra's was always Ra's al Ghul, the Legal Assassin, League of Shadow.
We didn't hide who he was.
He always was that same person. So we can basically keep that trajectory and understand where he is, how he's moving forward, realizing that he knows that, hey, I need to build an empire. I need longevity. I need to put, quote unquote, put stocks and stuff early on. Now, those are days before stock kind of scenario, but in the fact of building, I need to make sure my empire builds from this small. And you realize later on, jumping on, something's big and realizing, wait a minute, isn't that the same name, company name that he started at like 200 years ago? Realizing like, that's where you know where his resources, where his capital, where his money's coming from. I just want to see someone do that because they don't. Like, if we do something, like, we're going to, like I said, everyone, we're going to definitely talk about Vandal Savage some point for sure this year. But he will be a person, again, the same type of way that you see these type of movies or show when they have some character who is long-lived, who is immortal, like Highlander or something along that line. You see after a while, he has a secret stash, like an emergency panic room full of gold and whatever the case would be. Yeah, that's great. That's cool. How did you acquire it? Like, it just have you have a bunch of stuff. So did you steal it and throw it in the back there? Or did you kind of like invest in it and realize, like, oh yeah, I'm like the original person, for Starbucks kind of scenario. I was there from the foundation.
I invested in Google.
Kind of scenario. And you can see him having a frame of a share of Google. And be like, yeah, that's mine. Just so you know. I got money. But that kind of scenario. 9%. So I want to see something along that line. I want to see something like that. So by the time we now get to modern time with Ra's al Ghul, that how did he fund his empire is by a certain way. You know what? I will take a 30-second pause and say that the closest thing I just realized it, but I realized I just watched the show just the other day, and I don't know why it's in the back of my head. Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings, and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I can't remember.
Yes.
His father, basically, he was immortal for like 1,000 years, but you can see that they started off that he was a warrior and he had the rings and everything along the line, but you see that they showed. When they jumped ahead, his empire grew and grew. Not showing how he got the money, but you knew he was a villain, he was a terrorist kind of scenario. So you knew he acquired money that way. But you saw some type of progression. Do the same thing with Ra's. I want to see that. So by the time you get now to modern time, now he's going to be interacting with the detective. Like, listen, I'm sitting good. Why am I sitting good? Because 400 years ago, I started something. I started this, started that. Behold, my empire. This is how I'm saving the earth. What are you doing? Join us.
Facts. 100%. 100%. All right, so we're going to get down to it. So let's get down to the brass tacks of you. You're all tuning in here. Listen every week. We appreciate it very much. So we're going to come down to it. Rod, how do you want to adapt it, and who would be your Ra's al Ghul?
Listen, I want live.
Who would be?
I want live. I want live. I'm so nothing going against. We currently have animation. We have cartoons. So I don't need any more of that. I want live. I want a movie. I don't even want a series. I want a movie. And like I said, I want a movie where the detective bring in Batman as a guest.
Yes.
That sounds so weird. But no one's gonna expect that. But put the movie is a Ra's al Ghul movie featuring, or like the main singer, and you just got the guest singer, Batman. That's what I want.
Also, what they did for Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Suicide Squad, but
Yeah,
I
first
guess
of all, what
so.
I mean, like
Yeah.
the
No,
first
I know
one,
what you mean.
Ben Affleck Batman
I
only showed up for a couple of minutes.
Yeah. But he only showed up for a couple of minutes, just as yeah, he showed up for a couple of minutes. But I wanted a little bit more longer than that. But you can tell that he's part of the story, but he's not the main. He's not the main criteria of the story. Yeah. So like the Suicide Squad one, yeah, he came in, chased down Joke and everything like that, cool, and saved her and whatever, and then bam, he was gone. Yeah, that was good. That was nice. Like that was, to me, that was an Easter. That was an Easter. But I would rather have the Ra's al Ghul story, and then you start to intertwine some Batman in there. But you know that Batman is really more of not the afterthought, but he's
second billing.
He's second billing. He's 100% second billing. Everything is from the point of view, and that's the thing. That's all I guess I'm trying to say. Everything that's happening throughout this movie is the POV of Ra's al Ghul. Who I want from Ra's al Ghul? It was very hard. And I'll tell you this. Because as you said in the beginning, when you start to go through the history and you realize that the character was kind of built around East Asian, and I was like, you know what? Cool. Because I wasn't sure is it Arabic or not. Because Ra's al Ghul is more of an Arabic, name.
Yeah.
But the whole origin is supposed to be like East Indian. You can see we didn't say about it, but there's a part in there where he part of the story, there's a story part where you realize his origin is more like Chinese based, like from the origin from China, right? And so I said, okay, let me at least, we got actors who can portray these, so let's go with that. So all that to say, I wanted someone that basically when people hear the name, someone's coming down, someone's about to get hurt. I want someone who has the ability to look the part, has to do the action sequence and everything like that. Because I don't want Rage to be only just walking up and down, being no. I want to be looking dignified, and then you took a swing at him, and then foolish mortal. Let me show you the ways. Foolish mortal. So that's it. So basically, I would like to have Donnie Yang as Ra's al Ghul. I would like Donnie to be able to portray that. Now, we're gonna go from the time we get to the modern times. Ra's al Ghul is supposed to have the distinction look of his mid-50s type of scenario. So I'm looking for someone who looks just seasoned. You're like, oh, you're not that old. And then you realize I'm 600 years old. What? I'm so confused. Right. So I would like to have Donnie in. I mean, like, again, his resume speaks for himself. So I don't even want to try to get into finding out, to explain what he can or can't do.
Man.
Donnie Yang can handle it. He can portray a person that looking so serious, like, not soft spoken, but have the ability to portray himself and have the dialogue that make you say, like, you're intelligent, and I should be scared just from you talking so smoothly and so calmly. Like, the gears are working in the background. I have no clue. Don't pay attention to the man behind the Iron Curtain. That's what Donnie is. That's what Ra's al Ghul is. Donnie can portray that. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Well, Donnie Yang, he played Ip Man, right? He played the story of Ip Man 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, which is loosely based off Bruce Lee's teacher. Right. Okay, along other things. Okay, got you. Ip Man. All right. Donnie Yang. Okay. Touche, sir. Touche. I like that. You coming out swinging, cuz. You coming out swinging. So just like you, I'm going definitely 1, live action. 2, I'm definitely going movie. I don't know if I want to have Batman in my movie kind of thing. I want mentions of Batman. I don't know if I need to see him in a movie, right? But that's because I really want it, like how Sony does their whole focus on the villains. I want this to be a focus on the villain and have Batman Easter egg drops in there. And then if you do another movie, then bring Batman in and do the stories of Birth of the Demon, Son of the Demon, and those ones that would affect them. Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So movie, got it going good. Now, the person I'm going with, we've seen him, and I'm gonna obviously we know every episode I always butcher a name at least once
Right.
or twice, 3 times. Here we go. I'm going with Haruko Sanada. So Haruko Sanada is Asian actor. You will know him from various projects. So one of the more popular ones is The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. He plays the main samurai that teaches Tom Cruise how to fight. He also shows up in 47 Ronin. He's in John Wick 4, where he's the owner of the Continental Hotel in Tokyo or Japan. And, near the beginning where Tom Cruise shows up looking for asylum and his daughter's there, and then they all start attacking. And so he's the main guy in that. He's also in Mortal Kombat. He's in Rush Hour 3, Bullet Train, and the list goes on. So
Got it.
this is who I'm going with to play Ra's al Ghul. So first of all, he's a
Mm-hmm.
little bit older. He's in phenomenal shape. He's already got the beard, the kind of beard goatee. He's got the long hair, which can be manipulated with the mousse to kind of give him more that look of Ra's al Ghul. And because he's done roles of playing samurais multiple times, he's got the sword training already done, packed, good enough. If you've seen him in, as I said, The Last Samurai, you've seen him in 47 Ronin or John
Honestly.
Wick 4, you realize how physical he can get, but his thing presence too at the same time. He is a
Yeah.
cool, you don't hear him yell. You don't hear him scream. And I like that what you were saying before, that he plays it. He's got this uh, undertone of power. He doesn't need to scream. Some people are like, gotta be loud. I'm loud, right? But he walks into a room and he's like, I don't think you should do that. And you're like, okay, I'm more scared of you talking the way you talk than,
This is
let's
what I'm
say,
saying.
someone carrying on like the wrestler screaming and yelling. I fear you
Right.
more. Like you're a controlled chaos. Like you, just one click and it's done for all of us. So that's who I'm going with to play my Ra's al Ghul going forward. And you can put him in Matt Reeves' movie. I would like
Mm-hmm.
him, I think it would be even better for myself, him and Ben Affleck in a movie going back and forth, because I still like the Ben Affleck Batman. Uh, right? I'm not knocking Matt Reeves one, but I would like to see that, because then you really can get into a Son of the Demon storyline with an older Bruce Wayne, and then you bring him in, and it's like, well, Raish, we meet again, and they go through the whole thing, and it's like, oh, by the way, your son says hi. Excuse me, what? And then Talia shows up. Oh, hi, detective. Oh no, she calls him beloved. But
Right.
she calls Bruce
My
beloved,
beloved.
and he always says detective. And he's like, yeah, detective, your son says hi. Yes, my beloved, we had a son. And
Don't
that
you
would
remember
be a
that
great
night?
way to introduce Damien into a live
Yeah.
action universe. Give me a Ben Affleck Batman Robin movie. What? Here we go. Explain
We
that to Dick
see.
Grayson.
Yeah. And I didn't break it down, but you're absolutely correct. The reason why I was saying like that with having Batman in mind as a little bit, because I'd rather have that in, and then we've touched Bruce Wayne Batman in the first one. And the second one, we can go right into like basically having Talia or having Talia seduce him. Because by now, we'll just say there's time from the end of the first one to the second one. Bruce knows of Talia and whatever the case would be, and just say, hey, we spent the night in kind of scenario, and let that story plan out. So by the time you come to the third one, oh yeah, by the way, my beloved, here is your heir. My what? Alfred.
Right?
Alfred,
Because,
what the hell's going on? Alfred, what happened? What happened?
yeah, because even in the comic books, they haven't really touched on that too much. We know that Damien is Bruce Wayne's son. It's Talia's son, right? We know that Ra's is his grandfather, but he hasn't met his other aunts and uncles. Damien has never met his aunts and uncles.
Mm-hmm.
That's a story waiting to happen, to be written. But it has to all happen starting off with Ra's. Ra's is the head of that family tree. He's the seed
100%.
of that tree before it grows. So there we go, everybody. I know Ra's has been cast before, but here's our take on it. We want to get more of an authentic Ra's al Ghul, Raz al Ghul. How you pronounce his name? Either way is good. You all can debate it. Tomato, tomato, ketchup, ketchup. Potato.
Listen. For what we have, all love and respect for Liam Neeson, who played it.
Absolutely.
But right now, at this time, Liam is like 71, 72. So when he did that movie, that was easily about like 18 years ago. That was like 2005. So you realize, like, yeah, if we're going to bring him again, especially if we're going to bring him into the new Bat series, the Matt reruns. We're just gonna have a more younger one who can relate. So again, now if they do anything further, it's still within an age bracket that they both look like going toe to toe kind of scenario. But yeah,
Yes.
that's it.
Yes.
Al Ghul.
Yes. Awesome. Well, on that note, everyone, thank you once again for tuning into the Iconist podcast. As we said, the icon is Ra's al Ghul, or the icon is Ra's al Ghul. Either way, we cool. Okay. On my side, as always, my cousin, best friend.
There you go. Rod C. Let's go.
Boom. I'm your host, one of your other hosts, Barry 3D. And this has been an Iconist podcast. Remember, this whole world was started with a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. Keep on dreaming. Out. All right, now it's time for me to go and take a bath in green liquid, and hopefully I can get younger.
Don't come out laughing too much like the Joker. Yeah, Calvin, take me away. Make sure it's the proper pool. It's not the Acme one where the person turned.
Imagine the Acme was actually the runoff of the Lazarus pit, and it was just okay. Right, we've had that's a good discussion. All right,
wow.